What's up, friends? My name is Yanni Blue, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I don't normally post things like this. Usually I'm just sharing music videos or really bad TikTok trend things, but I wanted to try something a little different because I'm coming out of a pretty insane year of releases. 12 drops in 12 months to be exact, with a very rigorous social media calendar that allowed me to reconnect with my community here on YouTube. So I wanted to do something special for y'all to close out the year. It's been a lot of fun, and I want to connect with other artists and just be here more. This is why I did 12 releases in 12 months. Yeah, ready? 12 releases in 12 months, what I learned about joy, strategy, and creative alignment. So to get us started, if you're a creative who wants results and your piece, this is the kind of strategy that's rooted in joy. And it actually has some real results. So if you are interested in those kind of things, I'm not going to sell you any playlisting gimmicks. I'm not going to sell you any streaming gimmicks. I'm not going to sell you any go viral gimmicks. This is real strategy that's rooted in feeling good, because let's face it, we deserve that. We make all this dope music that makes everybody else feel good, and then we have to suffer to promote it. Get the f out of here. Can I curse? GTFO. So this year I dropped 12 songs in 12 months. I went viral for talking about my inner child. I released songs about joy and manifestation and wanting to grow old with a guy. I built community, I built systems, and I made projects rooted in collaboration. And that was so much fun. So if you want creativity that works and feels good, please keep watching. All right, let's jump right into it. So why did I do this? So 2025 was already gearing up to be a pretty busy year for me. For those of you who don't know, I'm a full-time musician and artist, but I also do work as an A&R, executive producer. And this year I was overseeing music development at Meta's music initiative program for about 14 different artists. So basically developing music for our platforms in real time, every month on a cadence, and was just learning a lot about what that process looks like and feels like, and wanting to apply everything that I was learning to my own output, which was gearing up to be a lot coming into 2025. Before the year even kicked off, I knew I had at least 4 or 5 collaborations that would be dropping with some of my friends. I knew I had a couple of projects that I was jumping in on as a creative director and creative strategist. And then I also knew that I would be doing at least one season of one of my podcasts, as well as trying to get some head start on my sophomore album. So the year was already looking crazy. So, if my year wasn't empty when I started, I decided to overflow it and basically was like, let me build a release plan to pad out the rest of this year. So normally in those type of moments, I know most artists would shy away and decide to kind of wait till it gets a little bit quieter, wait till they've got things a little bit more planned out, wait till timing is perfect. We love that word, perfect. But instead I asked myself a different question, and I was just like, what happens if I use this momentum to clear my hard drive, clear a pathway, sharpen all my tools, throw everything at the wall, and really see what happens? And that felt ambitious, but it felt really exciting too. I was just like, you know what, let's go for it. Let's figure it out. Working at Meta taught me strategy and systems, as well as creative leadership, that I hadn't really applied in my own life yet during my first year there. So going into my second year, it felt really crucial to be able to do that, mirror my A&R and music development and sonic identity work at a major tech company in my own life. So that was kind of the plan. And the year basically became like a living experiment in strategy that was led with joy, consistent output, wellness-centered creativity, and sustainable momentum. All right, so what my release year actually looked like. So there were a couple different categories of things that happened this year. There were the collaborations. Shout out to Javel, who brought me in on his first single of the year, a song called Kings. He and I also had a gang of things that we had worked on for Tsunami Muse, including 2 singles with her. One was titled Runway, and the other one was titled Shade, which both came out this year. Shout out to Sad Boy Music, who is also repackaging our joint single Technicolor with Amir. So those are already on the docket. I knew those were coming out pretty back to back. They were all at the top of the year, which I love because I love working with all those guys, some of my favorite people. So to be able to have those moments of records that I was on as a part of a larger ensemble and push it collectively was a lot of fun. Again, shout out to Tsunami, shout out to Candy Muse, shout out to Aja for letting me jump on those songs with them. They're amazing. The second category of releases this year were the strategic ones. There were a couple of releases that I needed to re-release to take care of some DSP stuff. For example, Can't Compete, that was mapping really weird in Spotify, and that's one of my highest stream songs. So I wanted to make sure that that was showing up the way it needed to. Not to mention, I noticed that it had a huge spike on TikTok, which was insane. So I wanted to take advantage of that. If you want to hear more about Can't Compete and TikTok, let me know. I'll definitely do a video about it. Yeah, it just made sense to take advantage of those fixes that needed to happen, re-releasing stuff, repackaging stuff, compilations and things like that. So those were my second category of releases for the year, as well as the remix EP for This Shit Hard, which was the theme song for Creators Toolkit. My third category of releases for the year were the things that I was consulting, creative directing, and A&Ring on. So obviously the meta stuff was happening monthly, which was amazing. And 2025 was actually the year where my two signees had their first batch of releases hit the platform. So shout out to Philip Lewis, who's an incredible producer, music director for Doja Cat, Sabrina Carpenter. And shout out to Nickel Fields, who is also another exceptional producer and artist and runs Outthinking Inc., which is literally the creative hub. If you're in LA and you're a writer, you're an artist, you're looking to get your footing, you're looking to score a hit record, you're looking to just be around some cool ass people, get with Outthinking Inc. So yeah, they had their releases hitting all meta platforms this year. So I knew that was coming up. I was helping my good friend Karina Pasian on the creative strategy and rollout for her single Rent Free, which I knew was happening this year. I also had some collaborations with Katini and Katini Skin that I was really excited about. And then I had a bunch of speaking gigs and engagements. Shout out to Queer Capita, shout out to the National Black Justice Coalition, shout out to Afros and Audio, shout out to the Art of Letting Go. A lot of things going on. And then the final category was the personal releases. Obviously, an ambitious year of rollouts comes with its handful of self-indulgent records. And for me, there were definitely some passion releases that I had not gotten out yet that I really wanted to get out. So this year was a great time for me to do that. My release year wasn't a grind. It was definitely a rhythm. And that rhythm kept me well, creative, and aligned. And the reason it did was because between all of those different things I had going on, I established a flow that just kind of put me in the zone. This year was all about flow. FLOW. Yeah. So quick recap of the year. We had Kings in January, the Kings EP in February. March was jam-packed. Season 2 of the Creators Toolkit, This Shit Hard remix EP, which is the theme song to Creators Toolkit, the Can't Compete repackaging, the Runway EP, which was myself, Javel, Tsunami, and Amir. April, The Boy from Kosciuszko. May was The Fear. June, Yanni and Friends, where I was able to actually pull music onto my platforms properly that wasn't surfacing. So that included collaborations with Tsunami and Aja and Alibi Music. July was Lionsgate Freestyle. August was I Like It. September was I Like It EP. October was Basic AF. November was Freeze. And December is The Fear. The Fear. The Fear. Cool. So, a lot. And in addition to doing all of that, I dropped my coat. So yeah, that was a lot. But in addition to all of that, I decided to also take the year to tap into a very rigorous social media schedule. And I did that because you just don't know where people are and where people want to see you and where people want to connect. And I really wanted to figure that out. So I decided to lock in for the year. And as I was releasing all this music, really hyper-focus my output on social media and just really see what platforms were for me and what platforms were not. Obviously, working at Meta, my first line of defense was Instagram, Facebook, and then eventually Threads. And I'll admit, I think a year of regular posting on Instagram, while I definitely saw some growth in my account, made me want to pull back a bit. Love the app. Obviously, it's a great place to connect. It's obviously still one of the premier apps on the planet for content, for artists, for creators. Great place to connect. Very follower driven. I don't have a huge following, so I just found it hard really navigating discovery on there, as opposed to their Twitter counterpart Threads. I've had a great time creating community there and, just being able to say really off the cuff things, connect with different people and different audiences. Threads became a really great place for me throughout the year. I deleted Twitter. Yeah, she had to go. And Threads became my space, my Twitter-like space. Substack was that girl for me this year. Love my newsletter. If you're not already subscribed, please go to Substack at Yanni Blue and check out my newsletter. It's a safe space. It's a fun space. You get, if you're following that already, then you know a lot of this already. But yeah, Substack has been a lot of fun. Substack is where my ideas breathe before they get loud. I tell you, I'm able to go there and just kind of say a million things and then distill that into my content everywhere else. So that's been a lot of fun. I get a lot of long form clarity. It's a grounding space and it's a home space for deeper thought, which I really appreciate. TikTok. I look at my social media strategy this year the same way that I looked at my rollout strategy. There were some apps that I was on because they simply made me feel good, and there were some that felt strategic. And I know that TikTok is built for discovery. And I had a previous account that I swear was shadow banned, but I decided to give it another shot and create a new account this year. And lo and behold, we have engagement. And not just any engagement. I had a video, basically, I'm getting like 100 likes a day because I got on a swing and talked about loving on my inner child. Ain't nothing more Yanni Blue than that. It's super humbling to see how much people connect to that video. Love my growing TikTok audience, and they're built for discovery. My new account has felt instantly alive as opposed to my shadow banned one. And the healing content really resonates there more than a lot of the polished content, which I can do it, but I'm a DIY kind of guy. And I got to go to a place where they like to see me in the rough. So here I am in the rough. YouTube, here where I'm at right now, has been so much fun to focus on and grow new community and new content. I've obviously been making short form content for years via Instagram and TikTok, and decided to start driving a lot of that to YouTube Shorts. And then realizing this very obviously awesome feature where you can actually link the video to the long form video. And it was like, wow, I'd much rather promote my music video with a clip of my music video on the platform where my music video surfaces. So yeah, got really ambitious with YouTube this year, and you guys have been super sweet to me. So I'm grateful to be here. I've been posting visualizers all year. I used my YouTube account as a funnel for season 2 of the Creators Toolkit, which we did in March. Shout out to Lottie, shout out to Katini, shout out to Farillo. Really, really great episodes. And I think they really reignited my interest in being active on YouTube. So here I am being active on YouTube. DSPs. It's been a wild year for Spotify. Spotify has been my hub since the beginning as an artist and as a listener, and love the interface, love the Spotify for artists. But I was getting a little uncomfortable, especially again with the monthly drops and just, start to see irregular patterns of like, I put out a song, let me go pitch it to playlists. And it just felt like the same thing. It felt like all the playlists only existed on Spotify. No one ever accepts you for a playlist on Apple or Deezer or anywhere else or Tidal. And it felt the easiest to game Spotify playlists. It just seems like the numbers are always a little bodish. I actually had a release last year, or I think top of this year, I released through Alibi that Spotify kept docking our streams on our campaign. And we're like, what the hell is the issue? What is the problem? And they just kept saying, these streams are artificial. And when I looked at the playlist, they were in really weird countries and some of the names didn't match up with the song. So Spotify just started to feel like ground zero for some scammy shiz. And in addition to all the things that are happening with them publicly, I started trying to figure out other places to go. And Tidal has this incredible creators spotlight program that I submitted my song Freeze to a couple of weeks ago before it even came out. And they playlisted it for 2 weeks and paid me $100 a day. So if you are having ethical issues dealing with Spotify and trying to figure out what else is out there for you, I would definitely encourage you to check out Tidal. Apple obviously is still great and one of the leaders in the game, but Tidal's definitely putting money into independent artists' pockets. If I didn't have this year of just having songs ready to release and being able to just put something up on Tidal, I don't think I would have been able to take advantage of that. So it's a really great example of how this year of releases has been really impactful for me. So yeah. So let's get into what actually worked. What were the benefits? What did I like? What did I not like? I'll say this, and I've said this to everybody that I've spoken to at every panel that I've been on, at every school that I've spoken at. I have attracted more opportunities from output than I ever did from not putting out. I gotta stop cursing. I've attracted more opportunities from output than I ever did from quiet strategizing. I spent years as a songwriter, and that is a world where you make a lot of things and just have to hope and pray that one day they see the light of day. And it's taken a lot to break away from that feeling of always thinking like there might be a better opportunity for this song or something more aligned. And, intuition is real, and you follow your gut and you follow your heart. Just go for it. I gotta stop cursing. Just go for it. Just go for it. Joy is a strategy. Joy is a strategy. Putting out music, Creating content can be daunting. It can be heavy. It can feel like a rat race. It can feel inauthentic. Go where the joy is. I think there's real strategy in joy. I think my releases that were rooted in joy performed the best. And I think every release this year has been really rooted in joy and excitement. And that was super helpful. So do that. I think consistency is a relationship. It's not a punishment. It's a rhythm. You have to just get in flow, and your consistency might be every 2 months or every 3 months, or you might drop an album a year. But I think having that muscle that requires you to wrap something up is super important. So lean into that. I think output gives you clarity. I think that since I started my artist journey in 2020, everything has been so impact driven. I was releasing songs initially to keep my songwriting career alive when the world shut down. And then from there, I was being strategic about connecting with queer community and Black community and place myself in different boxes. And I have had the greatest time ever running from room to room, getting to understand who Yanni Blue is. And I think through this year of monthly drops, I really got to see who I am as an artist. And if you've been paying attention from July onward, there's been a very steady rhythm and consistency and story arc to who I am that feels really authentic and really, it feels good. So I'm excited to release my sophomore album in that spirit. Community multiplies creativity. I couldn't have made it through this year without my creative community. Shout out to Amir, to Sad Boy Music, to Mike Brown, to Eric Watkins. Shout out to Katini. Shout out to Javel, Tsunami, Candy, Aja. Shout out to Ty. Shout out to Lily. Just really, really great creative community has surrounded me throughout this process, and it has been such a joy. Karina, it's been such a joy to create in community. Ryan Hamilton, I feel like the Whitney at the BET Awards. The biggest takeaway for me this year has been that creativity is wellness. I have been working in music and around music for the last 20 years, and there was about a good 10 years there where I had such a toxic relationship with creativity and output because my goal was success, and I had a very narrow idea of what that looked like. So every song was written in a pressure cooker with a lot of anxious energy, and I had to remind myself that what I do every day is a tool for wellness. People listen to music to feel good or feel anything, and I was making it and feeling nothing. The greatest thing I could have done for myself a couple years ago was to take a step away from songwriting as an industry and really start to tap into songwriting as a wellness practice. And this year I've been able to really dial that up all the way, and every song has felt so crucial to me and where I'm going and what I'm building and what I want to preserve and what I want to say in the world and attracting the opportunities that I really want. So yeah, creativity is absolutely wellness. Your output is absolutely connected to how you feel, how you show up in the world. So pay attention to that. Definitely pay attention to that. So let's get to the big wins of the year. Obviously, I mean, yeah, everybody feels good to put out music. Obviously, there's a lot of joy in that. There's a lot of fun in creating, but it also could be expensive. There's a lot of output. There's a lot of, still putting yourself out there and hoping that people like what you put out there. So this wasn't just a year of releases. It was a year of measurable and meaningful growth, which is really important to me. Obviously, it's very easy to jump on the wheel and just put a bunch of stuff out, but you want to make sure that there are real checkpoints that still feel good, because again, this was a release year that for me was about prioritizing joy and output and visibility. So yeah, I posted consistently across TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Substack, and YouTube Shorts. I leveraged momentum across platforms into tens of thousands of views and impressions, over 50K views on TikTok for content around healing. Financial wins. I did earn about 10K this year from my music, which is huge. I've made money from music before, mostly as a songwriter, but this was the first time that I have made money for my output as Yanni Blue. And that was not from streams, unfortunately. Obviously, that's a whole nother conversation. But through my regular output and being able to flesh out ideas and concepts, I was able to apply for several grants that I received this year. The title Artist Spotlight was huge. I really appreciated what they did for me and how that helped me finish out my year. I was able to create partnership moments that led to some money, some opportunities in sync that also led to some money. So that's been really good. And then recognition. This year, I was able to advance my footprint as a thought leader, thanks in part to season 2 of the Creators Toolkit. And my constant output as an artist tends to center around conversations like the one we're having today, talking about wellness and joy and identity. And that was able to get me recognition from Queer Capita. I partnered with them over the summer for a panel at Pride. And then I also become head of content and a part of their 2025, 2026 board, which has been huge for me. Shout out to Queer Capita. Really excited for all the work we're about to do this year. The National Black Justice Coalition named me 100 Emerging Leaders to Watch, which is also an honor for me and something I'm really deeply appreciative of. I spoke and led discussions about creative careers and wellness, which are huge for me, especially for new and upcoming creatives. Shout out to Girls Right Now, shout out to Building Beats, and shout out to Afros and Audio, who allowed me to come in and lead panels on everything from identity to turning a song into a story, career advancements, things like that. So that's been great. So yeah, this year wasn't just emotionally meaningful. It came with real numbers, real income, real opportunities, and real clarity. I'm coming out of the year knowing exactly what my sophomore album is going to sound like. That's cool. I'm coming out of the year also knowing that I am really excited to launch my creative agency. More on that later, but if you are an artist and a creative who really related to some of the things we discussed today, not just creative clarity and releasing from a space of joy and wellness, but also how to make real impact as an artist and how to make real revenue as an artist, take down my information. Let's talk in a couple months. Momentum starts with permission, not pressure. Period. This year, I made gentler systems for myself that came with discipline and helped me sharpen my discipline. Lessons for 2026. You don't have to do a year of monthly releases to do half of the things that I did this year. You just really have to give yourself permission to make the stuff that you care about and move with intention and purpose. Period. I think gentler systems are better than discipline. If you follow me on Substack, you'll remember that journal entry that I shared where I was super militant on myself about songwriting and getting placements, and it was gross. I'll never speak to myself like that ever again. These days, I find so much more creativity and inspiration and just treating myself better. So lean into that. Share, don't hoard. If you put something out and it doesn't hit, you don't like it, take it down, clean up the mix, recut the vocal. But you learn that through sharing it, not through hoarding it. Your creativity expands when you expand. So yeah, what's next? 2025, I feel like I was clearing space, testing systems, building pipelines, and giving myself proof of concept. 2026, I'm using all of those tools to build a real world for myself. I have a creative agency that I'm launching. I have a sophomore album that I'm finishing. I have more speaking and teaching engagements that I'm looking to partake in, workshops, more YouTube deep dives. I love this community, so I definitely want to talk to you guys more. And then more creativity rooted in joy. Sometimes that doesn't mean a 12-month, 12-drop release schedule. Sometimes that just means sitting at home with my partner and my dog painting, working on a vision board, trying a new recipe, taking a different route into the city. So yeah, if this made you feel seen or inspired, you're in the right place. So let's build creative momentum together. I want to thank you guys for watching. Leave likes, leave comments. What kind of content would you like from me? Was this meaningful to you? Was this helpful? Check out my Substack. Check out my TikTok. Let's talk crap on Threads. And yeah, I'm excited for next year. So thank y'all for all your support. Peace.